Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On behalf of the Board of Education, welcome to our meeting this evening. We would like the audience to know that this meeting is being recorded. The recording will be available shortly for viewing. We would also like you to know that if you have questions or concerns, that we strongly encourage you to utilize the Honeoye Central School chain of contact. This will ensure that topics that are of importance to you are directed to the appropriate person and can be looked into in a timely and efficient manner. Before we proceed, please make sure that your cell phones and devices are set to silent or off so that we may conduct board business without disruption. Jennifer, is there anyone signed up to speak during public expression tonight? Okay, just to clarify to the people that have signed up on our list, are you prepared to speak this evening? Just clarifying because a couple meetings ago we had someone signed up that didn't want to speak, so I just want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay, you can call them when. Yeah. Public expression will not exceed 30 minutes. Each speaker has no more than 5 minutes and will be given a 1-minute notice if needed. Once you are called to the podium, please utilize the microphone and state your name and address. Please know that personal comments about or directed at a student or students, specific school personnel, a member or members of the Board of Education, or a community member or members will not be tolerated. Doing so will terminate any remaining time you have left. We encourage communication and value input from Honeoye Central stakeholders. However, we will not respond at this time. Items brought to the attention of the board may be taken under consideration for future response or inquiry. Thank you for your interest in speaking this evening. Okay. So Owen, when you get up to the podium, if the microphone's not already on, you can go on up. There's a little like person speaker symbol on there. Just push that. And then if you're going to go close to 5 minutes, we'll hold up a yellow piece of paper so that you get a 1-minute warning. Picture of the guy. Yep.
Hello. All right, so it's Owen Reynolds, Owen Cuba, and Johnny, and my address is 28 Church Street, Honeoye, New York.
Good evening, Honeoye Central School Administration and Board of Education. We are members of the Honeoye varsity basketball team, and as you know, we recently traveled to Cleveland, Ohio, where we played Livonia at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, home of the Cleveland Cavaliers. After our 2 p.m. game, we stayed to watch the Cavs take on the Pacers, which was an amazing experience. We spent the night in a hotel and then traveled back on Monday. This trip was the vision of our coach, Rob Delisani, whose passion for the game started when he was a player in Honeoye. We fundraised for this trip so that all student athletes could participate without concern about families assuming additional costs for the trip. We know that a lot of work went into this trip, and we are grateful for those who helped make it possible. Our athletic director worked with HCS administration, particularly Mr. Bastian and Mrs. Fluke, who coordinated with legal, the HCS transportation department, Livonia Central School, the referees, and the coaches to coordinate and cover all the many necessary details. The trip was an unforgettable experience and left us all with memories that will last a lifetime. It also motivated the younger players to work hard so that they may have a similar experience in the future. We appreciate all who helped make this possible. We are grateful that we were trusted to represent Honeoye proudly, both on and off the court. As a token of our thanks, we wanted to present Mr. Bastian, Ms. Fluke, and the Board of Education with these notes of thanks and a team picture. Thank you again.
Thank you.
and I'm not as tall. Write that down. All right, first, my name is Migna Gonzalez. I reside at 4840 County Road 37 here in Honeyway. I am a Honeyway alum, as well as a past participant in the drama program here. First, I'd like to thank the board for not only allowing me to speak, but for allowing these meetings to be recorded and allow for full transparency nowadays and for nobody to be able to hide behind closed doors what's being said. I know as a community member, I really appreciate being able to be informed when I'm not able to be at these meetings. I'd also like to move on and thank the school and administration for the swift action that they had taken on behalf of me and my child in the fall of 2023. For those of you who may not already know, my son and I, unfortunately, were part of the Title IX sexual harassment, not abuse, that was previously mentioned. This took place as a result that year of what can best be described as adult bullying. No less than 5 children who were interviewed during the process agreed. The school's swift action in removing that director showed that such words and actions would not be tolerated and that the LGBTQ community plus here in Honeywell would be protected and supported. As students at Honeywell Central, our children are thought to be kind and caring at a very young age. The same should be expected for the adults in their lives. As teachers and administration, privacy is the utmost importance when a child comes to you with concern. Same should be expected for the adults running the clubs and the school events, instead of publicly airing out their concerns to remove their peers, which is why my child and other children had never felt comfortable approaching this director, which is a concern in of itself. Upon the removal of this director, the school and the board worked diligently to still try and allow our children to have a production that year, which was the right and kind thing to do. To say the whole thing should have been canceled as a result of adult wrongdoing is not only selfish and disgusting, but why would we wish that on our children? Furthermore, to say the production was mediocre was not only hateful, but insulting to both the staff and the students who worked very hard to still be able to put a production on. To say it compromised the integrity of the drama program is not only ignorant, but entitled. It was quite the opposite, actually. All in the timing used a really new technique called 3/4 thrust, which is a technique that had never been used here at Honeywell and was new to these students. So it showed that these other directors were indeed furthering the students' knowledge in the world of drama, which is all we can really expect from them. As a result of all of that, some amazing productions have come out, from Almost Maine to Wonka to even All in the Timing, where the kids were happy and excited and it reflected on stage. Kids were leaving rehearsal laughing and instead of crying. It's important to note that the students actually picked All in the Timing out of 3 different read-throughs that they did. So to insult the plays and essentially to insult their choices and their decisions. In conclusion, the school and administration absolutely did the right thing in removing the director and recognizing the severity of the situation that was happening at the time. Even the Title IX investigator noted how disturbing some of these actions were. This is in black and white print, not an opinion, which I would gladly share with whomever wants to see it. I would love to see the continued positive changes and decisions that the school has started making in the future as a way to show we are no longer living in the dark ages and people will be held accountable for their words and actions, regardless of their name, history, or status in this community. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on. Is there any kudos this evening? Cindy, go ahead.
Just going to follow up. Yeah, last weekend, we had the drama presentation, and it was really well put together, well attended. Almost Maine. It was a series of vignettes. We had about 10 actors and probably 15 to 20 kids in the technical production. Lots of adults volunteering over the weeks. And I've heard, very positive things from it. So kudos to them in continuing on this very essential program for some of our students who don't necessarily get to participate in sports. It gives them an opportunity to have their voices heard and build confidence in speaking in front of others. I'd like to do some kudos for the Honeywell Jazz Band. They've got a concert coming up in 2 weeks here in the cafeteria. Yeah, that's you, Owen. So, So make sure that, you check the calendars for that. I think that we did a community benefit for a staff member who recently lost her husband, Kitty Carly Walsh. Kathy, sorry. He's speaking with microphones. But it just really warms our heart. And these are examples of how we get our community engaged and participating and mixing with our students here. In the reason why our school is so essential to this community, Honeyway. So I just want to, I'm sure there were other events. There's events going on right now, the circus and all of that good things. But yeah, we are such a vital part of our community, and I'm so glad that we have these programs.
Jerry?
I've got several of them. The first is for Mary Beth Tonkery for her posting of the pop-up food pantries throughout Ontario County. They're essential and it's nice and good information for those who need it. So a good kudo to her. Another one is to Bob Chavez, our BOCES PR person. He had our students showing the Bulldog spirit in Bill's uniforms, okay, on Facebook, okay, along with several other schools showing spirit for our local football team. It was good to see. Another kudo, Carrie Clement, who helps run the concession for the sports boosters. She does a fantastic job. I know the board has helped out on several nights, but she runs the whole thing and it's fun to do. It makes money for the sports programs and the sports boosters who help our athletes in that, and she does a fantastic job. Big kudo to her. Let's see. Rotary Book of the Month. They did it today and they're doing it tomorrow morning. That's their monthly handout, so to speak. And I think fourth and fifth grade get it tomorrow, if I'm correct. Yeah, I can see some of the students there. So good luck in picking out a great book again. It's a fantastic program and Rotary deserves a big kudo for doing it. And actually, the Rotarians really enjoy doing it too. And lastly, I was able to attend the Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES Legislative Breakfast along with Tori and Natalie, and it was wonderful. It was nice to see all the people from the different districts, the superintendents and board members who were there, and some of our legislators or their assistants in that. It was a nice time and well done. And I believe this was the first time they did that. So hopefully they will do it again. That's it.
Anybody else? Megan?
I'll add to the social media. I'm going to say Elena Suggs too, because I know sometimes we miss her and she posts as well. So shout out to Elena as well for her stuff. Our senior spotlights have been popping up on our athletic Facebook pages. So that's great to see our seniors. If you don't know all of them. What else do I have? Collaborating with our schools. I know that's something that we talk about all the time, and it's great to see that in track because you always want to make your circle bigger, right? So it's good to see the track and them making new relationships on social media as well. And lastly, I went to Almost Maine Sunday. It was a little light in the crowd, but it was a great program to go and see. If you didn't see it, I'm sure everyone was raving about it. I think the older people would have enjoyed it a little bit more and caught some more of the humor of it, but it's great to see that 6th through 12th all together. I don't think they get that as much during the school year. So it's great to see them all work together, all those ages. And that's all I had.
Anybody else? No? Okay, I just have a couple. I would just like to say thank you to Melanie Braun, the drama producer, and Judy Swanson, the director of the drama. I had fully intended to participate on Saturday. Unfortunately, I had a family emergency that I had to attend to on Friday. So I was unable to attend Saturday, but I would just like to thank them for putting in the effort. I have fond memories of being on the lighting crew and the set crew on a lot of dramas and plays here. So, dramas and musicals, I should say. So I thank them for putting in the extra hours. Also to Mike Kessler and Mike Bastian and Mrs. Fluke for being here tonight to take us on the building tour. We got a little bit of a look at everything that's supposed to be going on with the capital improvement project that's going to be happening shortly. And I believe that's all I have for right now. Oh, go ahead, Cindy.
I just want to wish all the students best of luck this week with their regents in their exams, mid-year exams. So I'm sure that they're well prepared and hope everything goes smoothly with that.
We will move on with the Board of Education Committee reports and updates. We have the Policy Committee.
I'll report on that. So is everyone to look through the policies? We did 5672 through 5676 with Erica Esquino. Most of it was just aligning and making sure that we're in compliance for like non-instructional and business operations with technology. I don't think Tori saw any questions come through. Does anybody have anything that I can answer to? Okay.
You use the microphone, please.
Sorry. On the section 505672 on page, it's just a small typo, so I just gotta find it. Hang on. Where'd it go? I just saw it. Oh. Anyways, it's where it says $250,000 and then underneath it, it says 500,000. It just needs a dollar sign. That's all. It's just so you don't throw people off. It was, like I said, it's just a typo. It was an easy one.
Okay, Jen's gonna make a note of that.
Thank you.
Do we want to have a second read of those, or are we good with those and we just make a motion to accept?
I make the motion that we forego the second read and make the motion to accept the 4 policies.
Okay, can I get a second, please? All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Is that all you have?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Are there any other committee reports? I would just like to add that the board is the audit committee, and we actually did just have a retreat. So that kind of counts as a committee. So we were all here a couple hours, went through everything with Tom Zuber, got to learn a little bit about expenditures, money coming in, money going out, things that we should be looking for. I found it very beneficial. And I do have notes for Jim and for Megan because they were not able to be here, and I can get those to you. So otherwise, we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay. Thank you, Tori, and hello, everyone. I'm really excited about tonight's lineup because you're going to hear from different stakeholder groups that make up our school community. So tonight's guest speakers will include Director of Facilities, Mr. Mike Kessler, School Librarian, Ms. Janelle Deal, and a few of our very special library clubbers. And then last, but certainly not least, our teachers. But first, student representative and board member Isabella Nellis.
So tonight, I know it hasn't been long since our last board meeting, so there isn't as many updates, but just for our sports, a little recap. Bowling, they've said they're doing well in their matches as long as seeing a lot of team improvement. And then for cheerleading, we got second just this past weekend at a competition. And we have one this weekend at Mercy. And then track, they're doing really well. And they're showing to be strong leaders in their merge with Bloomfield. And then basketball, the boys who are just here, they're crushing it at their games. And they won at their Cleveland game against Livonia. And then the girls are still seeing great improvements in their court skills. And then just a couple clubs. Not many clubs have met in that last couple weeks since I've last seen you guys. NHS, they've recently decided to extend their service work in the snack shack to instead of being at the end of January to being at the beginning of February break. Class of 2027, if you couldn't tell by the packed parking lot, they're the one hosting that circus tonight. Student council, they have been on the announcement saying that they're struggling to have members joining student council, especially underclassmen. Majority of their members are seniors, but again, we do have busy schedules. Like we had one last Wednesday. I couldn't attend because I was peer tutoring, and I know not many did attend, even though they had multiple announcements on joining. And then masterminds, they had their home match recently where they dominated in several matches. And then just one student concerned. So after we have this week obviously as midterms and finals, but then the following week we have an extra week of quarter two. Some students are confused on why, and they're a little upset because that could have been used in their opinion as another week of studying. I'm sure there's an explanation behind it. But they just think I could also see it as being a point of confusion when kids come back next week on that Monday, that they're gonna go, because there's a lot of class changes from quarter two to quarter three, because it's semester one to semester two. So I think a simple fix with that would either be on the announcements. I know it's second period, but also telling first period teachers to remind their students that it's still quarter two. And that is all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Isabella. I will make a note of that, and that was great. One concern, it's getting better, everybody. All right, next up, it is an absolute pleasure. Actually, I'm sorry, first, please welcome Director of Facilities, also an absolute pleasure, Mr. Mike Kessler. Yes, to the podium.
Hi, I'm Mike Kessler. I'm the Director of Facilities, here to give my yearly update. For the first time, I guess, in a couple of years, we're 100% staffed on our night crew, which is great. We have the lead water testing scheduled for February break. We had our fire inspection this past Monday. We passed, so that's fantastic. And we're also working with Richmond Rec to provide building usage for after school and evening activities. We also installed 2 pickleball courts in the elementary gym. I'm currently working on some signage for our ball fields and outside spaces for no smoking, no vaping, no drug use, all that good stuff. And then the continued process of discards and cleanup for our inventory and our old furniture and everything down in the boiler room. That's an ongoing process. We're making great headway, but it's going to be a long process. And then lastly, we completed what they call the D&D page turn for the capital project. It was 7.5 hours just sitting there flipping through hundreds of pages. So now we're just waiting on the construction estimates so we can fine tune everything and present the final scope of work. That's all I got. Questions, comments?
I would just like to say thank you for your countless hours that you put in your and attending the 7.5 hour page by page with
problem.
all of us. But you get the big pieces of paper.
Yes,
Yes.
I actually have that. I should have showed you guys tonight. I made a table in the maintenance shop, so you can flip through it nice and easy. Well, thank you, everybody.
All right. And I want to also just say thank you to Mike, who not only has been instrumental in the capital improvement project work, but in his visibility, efficiency around the building, getting things done in the manner that you do.
I appreciate it.
We very much appreciate you, and you are a pleasure to work with. And he's really funny sometimes. So thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you very much.
And your expediency in catching bats.
All right. Next up, I'd like to welcome Ms. Deal and her students to the podium.
All right, I am actually not going to be doing a lot of the speaking tonight because I have 3 wonderful volunteers who took their time out of, instead of going to the circus, they are here to do a little bit of this, to share a little bit about Library Club, which is one of the big parts of the library. So they're going to share a little bit about what we do throughout the year, and what's coming in the spring even.
Hi, my name is Olivia Meek, and I'm the president of Library Club. Hi, my name is Nola Flynn, and I'm the tech admin and co-announcer of Library Club. Hello, my name is Molly, and I'm one of the book fair coordinators. We also have Vice President Katie Carrier, Secretary Charlotte Milliman, co-treasurers Madison Bryan and Lizzie Brongart, Public Relations McKinley Kester, announcers McKinley Kester and Nola Flynn, Library Space Visualist Lucas Nigley, Shelf Elf creators, Jay Sheila and Marley Baird, Book Fair coordinators, Abby Blair, Molly Britton, and Sage Rorba.
We're lucky to have a total of 14 this year. It's, I think, maybe my largest group.
Here's why we wanted to join Library Club. Nola, I love reading and making more people read. Molly, I like to write and create artwork. Olivia, I like reading. Lucas, I like to help clean and organize the library. Katie, I love watching people read and to read. Marley, I want to help with book fairs and I love reading. We put the fun in fundraising with the Scholastic Book Fair. Winter Book Fair. Take it away, Nola. This fair was our biggest yet. We are grateful for our supportive community and volunteers for all the hours spent helping to make it a success. Our book fair tales stopped at the list at $7,926.06. This earned us $1,981.52 in profit for our yearly Library Club designed Bulldog Read t-shirts. We also did share the fair and raised $344 for books given to the Community Operation Secret Santa directly from UPK and 5th grade wish lists. We also have our BOGO Book Fair coming up. The BOGO Book Fair happens every spring. Our profit goes to our community as BOGO Books. It's our way of thanking our community of supporters from the Winter Fair for helping us reach our goal. And it also gets people reading and enjoying more books. Who doesn't love a BOGO sale? Other Library Club activities. Adopt a shelf area. Everyone picks a shelf area to take care of during class, meetings, or free time. Helping with displays. School-wide reading t-shirts. Club designed t-shirts given to UPK through 5th to bring us together with Bulldog Pride Cheer. Last year's Library Club design. Other possibilities this spring: Literacy Night, Rotary Gift Book Support, Author Illustrator Visit, Summer Reading Cheer. Thanks for your support. Do you have any questions?
Short and sweet and to the point, so. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Steele and Olivia, Nola, and Molly. Thank you very much for that presentation, for your fundraising efforts, help with the book fair, and all that you do, it sounds like, for Ms. Deal and in the library. And those were great ideas for evening events. So I can't wait to get with you and hear more about that. So thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. That was outstanding. All right, now you've noticed this year that at each of the board meetings, we have invited guests from our school community to highlight what they do that makes Honeoye so special. So when this group asked me if they could come to present tonight, I couldn't be more excited for you to see firsthand all the experiences and opportunities that the HCS staff bring to this building. Please welcome Bev Fisher and Michelle Berger.
Okay, first of all, this is a really hard act to follow. Next time, put us before then. We are very excited at the opportunity to talk to all of you and the community about the wonderful things our faculty does at HCS. You probably know we are union presidents for a little while longer, but we are taking off our union hat. We are here as teachers. We have been at Honeoye for decades. We've taught a lot of your children. We may have taught you. We love our school. We love our students, and we appreciate the support of our administration and our school board.
You memorized yours, I did not. We are proud to share some of this year's highlights with you. Although we know that Rob Chavez has done a fabulous job sharing many of our successes with our community already, we also know that teachers and teaching assistants often do not recognize themselves. So tonight we thought we would rectify that. We would like to thank Clarissa Hensler for putting our presentation together and creating this through Canva. And we would like to introduce Jenna Flynn and Alyssa Boyer, who will be sharing the slides with you.
Please forgive any typos. They were from a document and we didn't have editing rights. So.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Jenna Flynn. I'm a sixth grade math and science teacher. So I'm going to put the slides up here and just kind of do a quick little highlight, and you can kind of see the pictures and read the rest. So some of the highlights that we have is our school-wide Day of Caring, which we started last year. And we have the drone pictures that kind of end up our day on 2023 and 2024. And there's a couple pictures up there of all the different things around Honeoye community and our surrounding communities that our students are involved in. It's pretty special. We also have a Smart Start grant in technology that is enhancing learning, and that is coming from the Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES with a partnership from U of R, where teachers are learning to engage with the new computer science and digital literacy standards in our classroom. And this March, there's going to be kind of more hoopla with that. And then there's a digital literacy in France and the US, Google Spreadsheets and Google Slides. So more to come soon with that. We have the Special Olympics that many of our students participate in. 40 to 50 students, athletes attend, and they spend the whole day watching athletes compete in these events, and it's so amazing. We have a great send-off with our students and teachers in the mornings. We have the mentor program, which has been supporting our new primary teachers. And this builds relationships that is both beneficial to the mentor and the mentees. And it provides the new teachers with some assistance and just adjusting to Honeoye in our district. Some elementary highlights, I'm not going to read through all of them, but they did holidays around the world. And I know as a mom, I heard all about that. And the kids were so excited about all the different holidays that they learned about. The music department, there has been increased enrollment in grades 4 through 12 with over 80% of the fourth grade class starting an instrument, which is pretty awesome. The elementary play is called American Symbols on Parade with 42 third, fourth, and fifth grade students, and the play will be February 12th. I encourage you all to go watch it. It's going to be amazing. And the Mosaic Dental has come to HCS and had offered cleanings for 23 students in our health office, which was fabulous for those students. And then we have our round one of Literacy Club occurred in November and December for our elementary students. Elementary Student Council highlights. They rang the bell at the Salvation Army, or for the Salvation Army at Surefine. Roller skating parties have always been a hit and are still a hit. And then the Teacher Appreciation Week, where they cooked breakfast, held raffles, and I know as teacher, we really appreciate that, and especially all the goodies. I don't know which slide I'm done on. but we're going to keep going. French class. So they are doing a virtual exchange, and they also have pen pals, Zoom meetings, and a letter exchange. And we had the hosting, we did some hosting here, and I know every 2 years we do an exchange program with them. And it's a pretty amazing activity. We actually got to host a student last year for a week. It was incredible. And then secondary highlights, the math team is getting ready for a competition. The resource room participated in the White Elephant writing contest. And they made some Google Forms, thank you letters. The juniors, English 11, were working on getting ready for the Regents exam, which is happening right now. And we stayed with Mrs. Berger for some extra help because she's always available. And then AP Stats, they're learning everything statistical, and 100% of our students have passed the AP exam in recent years, which is great kudos. 7th grade science is creating the living periodic table, which is very, very neat to see up there. And there's other English 12 seniors preparing for college journey or their workforce, getting applications, some different services, resume writing, application writing. So much is happening to get them ready for their next journey. And now I'm going to pass it off to Alyssa.
Some additional highlights. We have the Youth to Youth, which has been working the Snack Shack and raising money for the Secret Santa project, which benefits our community. And they also are working with the food pantry to make sure that the food pantry had enough supplies to supply our community with Thanksgiving dinners. And they did a stuffing collection, which we were very successful with. So thank you to the community and the students for that. Our foreign exchange student, Isha, who is wonderful. She's great about sharing her culture. She actually came to school and did some traditional Pakistan food, and she talked about her culture and her language to expose our students to that different culture. We have the Bulldog Beat, and our yearbook club is working very hard on making the yearbook gorgeous this year. Peer tutoring, headed by Mrs. Berger, is a hit. It's great to have that as a teacher for the outlet for some kids who maybe are like, I need to make some connections. Anytime you approach a student and say, hey, maybe what do you think about peer tutoring? I have never had a student say, no, I don't want to do that. They're like, yeah, I think I'd be open to that. I want to try that. So that's great to see. The 7th and 8th grade ELA students are continuing to raise money for the Water for Sudan. The Career Connections class, they are working on job shadows this semester, traveling to Romulus to observe phases of the butchering process. The life science biology students were doctors, and they were diagnosing diseases, doing karyotyping and DNA gel electrophoresis. AP Physics was making rockets, which looked super cool. And then they were kind of seeing which one was the best and having a little healthy competition. The chemistry model, they've been doing this since I was in high school, making the 3D periodic table, edible models, very engaging for the students. They love it. And then they remember which elements go where. Math and English for this middle school, working on percentages and reading The Outsiders. In elementary, the zones of regulation with our K through 5 students. This is with help with the mental health team. They are coming into the classes and helping with tier 1 interventions, teaching the students self-awareness. At least when my kids come home, they tell me all about what zone they're in and what zone their friends are in. So it's definitely sticking. The golden plate, the kids love this. The elementary kids are so proud when they can say, I have the golden plate outside my classroom. So it's such a great point of pride for them. The STEM lab, which is working with different Legos, robots, and they're creating all of these different things. And that is 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade, but also the little guys are getting a chance to do it in a modified way. We're having our PBIS assemblies. I heard all about these from the elementary. They were such a hit around Christmas time, the student of the month. The kids love that. The teachers love that. It's such a way of celebrating our students and their successes in the classroom every day. We did host a FA/FSA workshop for any of you who have students going to college, the new financial aid stuff is a nightmare. So we're so happy to have the counseling center helping our students through that process because it can be very, very difficult. We are having guest speakers in all the science classes, AP Physics, AP Biology, and Gemini Chemistry, as well as some dance parties. The ceramics class are making pasta bowls, and they're going to have a pasta party the last day of their class. And then there was which we've already heard about tonight, but the incredible win and the incredible experience for our boys basketball team in Cleveland. The art class is doing Model Mondays for their middle school. Middle school Youth to Youth had a great time working on Christmas parades, and then they're planning for a soup drive for the Super Bowl, and then they will be doing their Valentine carnation sales. The integrated science class, this is near and dear to my heart because I co-teach this class with Mr. Moran, and we've had so much fun. We did a hydroponics lab. Last week, we made hurricane-proof houses, and then we actually saw whose house would stand up to the hurricane force winds. Only one of them did. And then we made prototype traps, and we did it like Shark Tank style, where the kids had to like create a trap for an invasive species. And we talked about the invasive species that are so local to us, the zebra mussels, the algae, and then they had to present their pitch about their trap and how effective their trap would be and how it would not harm other species in the environment, locally especially. And now they're working on an extreme weather project where they're creating 3D models of extreme weather events that have happened in the US throughout history. So it's pretty cool. They're enjoying that. Then we had our National Honor Society induction for the fall group, and NHS plans to host their Pickles for Puppies, which is a very popular fundraiser to benefit Gordy and Friends. High School Student Council, like Bella said, is very much looking for new members as the seniors move on. So they are very busy though, still doing all their work. They did a great thankful video that was shared with the staff. And then they're planning for homecoming already for next year. The Buffalo Bison game for the middle school choir, they're going to be traveling to Buffalo in May for an overnight trip, and they're going to be singing the national anthem. We have the upcoming musical auditions, which will be happening after spring break for Cinderella. I'm sure that's going to be very, very popular. The kids are already talking about that. The DC trip for the high school band and choir. The Sheets and Sweets is going to be coming up. The Clark Meadows, it was great to see the pictures of the kids working with the residents at the retirement home and just making those connections in the community. And then some of our students were selected to audition for All County. We had All County Music Festival in Mid Lakes. The Silk Road Storyteller, this will be coming tomorrow. The 6th grade students will experience the Silk Road with an author and storyteller. And they will also be doing hands-on experiences, creating clouds, convection currents, and plate boundaries. And then in computer, they are making their food trucks. And then finally, the secondary highlights, one of the work-based learning classes is going out. This is a middle and high school class, and they regularly volunteer at Gleaner's Kitchen. The kids come back from this experience, and they are just beaming with pride. They are so excited to tell you about it and share what they did and talk to, what they learned, the people they talk to. So this is also a highlight of one of the highlights of our school.
Let's do that. Okay. So you can see a snapshot of this is half a year. And I think we cannot overstate also that one of our points of pride is that we are making connections with our students. So I wanted to end with a little anecdote of something that happened to me last Friday. I was preparing to go to the basketball game, and my husband and I went to the Valley Inn to have fish fry for dinner. And as I walked in, I see a student who graduated 6 years ago. And I'm not going to say his name, but I saw him and it was so exciting. He was so happy to see me. Big hug, caught up, what's going on. I was like, I really have to go. We have to catch the basketball game. So as my husband and I are eating and I'm talking about the student and just what I remembered about him, where he sat and the connections that we had made. And as I was going to pay the bill, the waitress said, that kid paid your bill. So that moment of that connection years later, we all make it. And I think it's important to recognize that. And it gives me the feelies still to think about that. So we really do appreciate having the time to do that. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that was so informative and just another example of our teachers' hard work and dedication to our students here at HCS. We truly appreciate you and couldn't be more proud to have you with us and working in our building and working with our kids. Can we give them another round of applause? Thank you so much. Okay, and I have just a few highlights. I would like to congratulate this month's Rotary honorees. Tonight, we celebrate middle school student Brooke Clement and high school student Peyton Slade for their outstanding citizenship and for being positive community service members. So congratulations to Brooke and Peyton. Also pictured here, we'd like to congratulate the cast and crew of last weekend's play production, Almost Maine. Talked about it a little bit earlier, but it was witty and sweet, and I caught myself laughing out loud a few times. I think I shed a tear a time or two, but the acting was absolutely top notch. And I want to thank Director Judy and our producer Melanie Braun. So excellent, excellent job. I also have just a few more updates. Jerry mentioned the legislative breakfast that Tori, he and I participated in last week, but give you a quick updates there. Superintendent Sean Van Scoy talked about regional priorities, including school funding, zero emission buses, student programming, civil service reform, and certification flexibility, and personal electronic devices in schools. So those are all things you've probably heard buzzing about, but we got to talk about that last week. So that was very interesting. It's on our minds, and these are things that we're talking about regularly. We also heard from Rural Schools Association, specifically around the Portrait of a Graduate, and from our 4 county school boards association. It was extremely informative and I think a positive approach to bringing school leaders and board members together. So as Jerry said, our hope is that they will be hosting more of these opportunities for collaboration in this way. Also wanted to mention the iReady winter diagnostic window is open, so be prepared for updates regarding fall and winter benchmarking, that comparison that the leadership team and CUM will present to the Board of Education, either next board meeting or the one after that. So be prepared for that. Staff are preparing for our computer-based testing simulation which will occur next Tuesday. That'll prepare us all to be on the computers at the same time taking New York State tests. So that's that simulation. And then lastly, grade levels are continuing to meet with leadership and AIS teachers to review goals, dig into data, and determine next steps or new goals. Okay, and then at this time, I will turn it over to business official Mike Bastian.
Thank you very much. I have 3 topics for this evening. First is the executive aid run that Governor Hochul announced with her budget presentation yesterday. So 24 hours hot off the presses. And next I will go into a brief comprehensive budget update, budget report that we have our monthly for information for the board. And then third, we'll talk about the veterans exemption information and research that was done for tonight. So first, in regards to the executive budget. Key takeaways, key points. The governor is proposing maintaining the hold harmless or save harmless provision regarding foundation aid, that a district cannot receive less foundation aid than it did the prior year. You'll remember last year, this was a hot topic. And this time last year, we were facing her proposal that it would have cut 19% of our foundation aid budget, would have been $1.2 million for Honeoye. So we're not talking about this year. She's not proposing that for this year. Anyway, maintaining the hold harmless. She's also proposed a 2% minimum foundation aid increase. So 375 districts across New York State, Honeoye being one of them, we're getting the minimum 2% increase. Those districts really, if not the vast majority, if not all, are those hold harmless districts. Some other districts are receiving more than a 2% increase on their foundation aid based on need and such, but those smaller districts and the hold harmless ones, we're getting that 2% minimum. If you asked me a week or 2 weeks ago if I'd be happy with a 2% increase, I would have said yes, because we really were remembering the pain of last year and the potential for that to reoccur. Another new item that was just announced is that the state will be using the SAPE, U.S. Census Student Poverty Factor data for the first time. Board members may remember Cindy put out an email and asked some questions about that. I did some research, and one of those questions was, is SAPE used to calculate state aid? And the answer was no last week. And as of yesterday, the answer became yes. That is one of the factors that they're using now as they adjust and look at foundation aid. So yes, much less painful initial projection that we had a year ago today. On the left, I've brought this each of the last 5 or 6 years. On the left, we see the actual aid figures right now as reported that we are getting now as our base aids in 24, 25. And then you see the executive aid run on 25, 26. All right. Again, a little bit more information here. Really believe that that foundation aid figure, that 2% increase over this year will become actual. You know, that is the governor's projection. My personal opinion is I don't think this is going to be one of those years where the legislature and the governor battle and the legislature bring more resources to the table for schools. I don't foresee that. I think they're going to go along the lines of what she has proposed, but we'll see. Some expense-based aids always need annual adjusting. The board has heard me say that every year. So I've already taken these figures that I'll show you in a minute and made some adjustments. I've reduced the BOCES aid a little bit, although not nearly as much as in the past because that's a tighter number this year. I feel much more confident about that. UPK, we adjusted UPK down based on the number of students that we have in the program. So rather than budget an expected revenue for if we have 36 out of 36 kids, this year we have 21, so I'm using our number this year. We certainly do not expect it to go up to 36 anyway. And then transportation, I believe, is as typical, is over projected by the state. So I'm looking at reducing that amount for my internal figures by $50,000. Of course, we'll be revisiting these throughout the next 2.5 months as we go through the budget process. So here's what that looks like. Took the governor's aid run, all the aid categories on the left. Again, the 24, 25 base aid, actual aid currently. The third column being her executive aid proposal, and then my adjustments already from yesterday's figures. Again, I mentioned adjusting BOCES, transportation, and UPK accordingly. That gets us to my projection using the governor's figures of changing those a bit, 8,377,359 for projection for state aid. Takeaways, again, the foundation aid increase, that 2% equates to $124,000. The overall budget increase, there's another $8,000 in those expense-based aids that actually increase the 124 up to 132, but that makes the overall increase for the budget for the aid from the state to be 1.6%. Again, believe that foundation aid figure, that 2% increase will become the actual figure. The governor did say that New York State has not yet finished tweaking the formula. I think they are for this year. This is her proposal, in fact, but I think there'll be additional work over the next few years. So changes could still be made down the road beyond the 25-26 budget cycle. Could also, I suppose, revisit the removal of hold harmless, but based on her proposal, we're set with that for this year. Okay. Next steps, going to be developing the expense and revenue sides of the budget the next couple months. We have 4, I believe, Board of Education Finance Budget Committee meetings, February through April. Work on the tax cap calculation in February, draft budgets from late February through March into the beginning of April, and budget workshops, 2 of those in March. And then, of course, the board adopts the property tax report card and the budget and the proposals, propositions in April for our May vote. Any questions in regards to the executive aid budget? Okay, great. Next, as I promised, carrying on from where we were last year with monthly updates to a few of our budget lines on the comprehensive budget report. This is, of course, information only for the board members. You get this in your packet. I want to bring a couple forward tonight. First is 2020-200. That is equipment for the SRO. This is used to purchase security cameras. Again, our purpose here is to see, if you look at the budget report, you're gonna see $20,000 budgeted, $20,000 available. We have not spent a cent yet. Want to explain that. Typically, these are ordered and expensed in the spring of each year. There is a plan to purchase additional cameras, so much of this allocation will be spent in the spring, just not yet. So that's why you would see money left over in that account currently. Next, public school tuition. This is not special ed. Account code 2110-470-20. So we have budgeted $35,620 based on projected costs, mostly for our resident students whose parents choose to send them to private schools. Those private schools are located within public school districts. Like, take example, Lima Christian inside the district of Honeoye Falls, Lima. Honeoye Falls, Lima provides nursing services, health service, maybe counseling and other services to students from Honeoye at Lima Christian, and then we pay for that. So we have that with many school districts. So money is budgeted there. The reality is these tuition costs don't come to us until the spring. So you're going to see very little. In this case, no money has been expended, but we will be seeing those invoices come in. I think we have one for the next board meeting, and then as we go through the spring, we'll see more and more of those. And we could also pay for tuition placements for short-term medical or other placements for students at times. So that is this account code and why it has not been expended. And then occupational education at BOCES, this figure, the $13,905 out of a $526,000 budget, represents one student who changed their mind in terms of wanting to come back to Honeoye. And that's great to come back to Honeoye. Obviously, we can only budget for the numbers that we can project at the time. And here's an example of, we will not be expending that money because we have that student back in-house, and happy to have that be the case. Okay. Just bring these things to mind as we go through the budget process, and remembering that 18-month to 24-month life cycle of a budget. It's not just the 12 months that it's in existence. It's the budget development time, the 6 months prior, and then wrapping up the fiscal year in the summer and into the next fall with audits and such. So just good reminders as we get into this part of the cycle for a new year. Any questions on those items? Comprehensive budget report?
I just got a quick question.
Yes.
So for every student that goes to BOCES, is that like a typical cost for us?
So there's two different costs. One is for, there's a couple special programs like the P-TECH program and the New Visions, which is for healthcare, for nursing and such. They have one price. And then when you think of the ACAD, the trade type of programs, they have a different price. They're within $1,000 of each other. Okay. Yep. All right, next. We're going to share some information in regards to veterans exemptions. Let me get to that. All right. In regards to veterans property tax exemptions for school taxes, school districts may adopt resolutions for certain veterans exemptions. These include the alternative veterans exemption, an eligible funds exemption, and Cold War veterans exemption. For a board to adopt resolution, a public hearing is required for the first two, the alternative veterans and the eligible funds exemption. The Board of Education alone has the authority and responsibility to decide this issue, right? To bring a resolution and then to vote on the resolution. That is the authority of the Board of Education alone. We have had Board of Education discussions on this topic, September of 19, April of 21, and March of 22. Most towns, Ontario County, offer two veterans exemptions. Okay, the Cold War and the alternative being those two. No Ontario County school districts offer veterans exemptions on school property taxes. So we do see that in the municipal realm in our towns, but we do not see that in Ontario County for school districts offering this. So this is a chart showing school districts either entirely in Ontario County or partially in Ontario County. And this is just showing for each of the options. You see the alternative war veteran, the combat disability, and then we've got the Cold War veteran as well. And just showing Livonia Central, and that would be the properties in Ontario County that are in the Livonia district, not the properties that we have from the Livonia town. Okay, so that's showing that. Exempt, as we've talked about in past years, the reality is exempted property tax values from veterans' properties would be passed on to remaining taxpayers within each town. Could possibly have an impact on star reimbursements due to reduction in tax value. So bringing this information forward, if after a discussion this evening, the board as a whole is interested in moving forward with a resolution, these would be the next steps. The board would first need to meet again to agree on resolution language specifically to determine levels, percentages, and limits for the veterans exemptions. Okay. We would look for some samples. I would gather some samples and additional information. The board would then also need to set a date for and then hold a public hearing to propose the resolution to the public. And then after that public hearing, the board would then be in a position to vote on that resolution. And again, we worked with the County Real Property Tax Office, also the school attorney, Bethany Centrone, in bringing this information forward to the board. Any questions in terms of what I've presented here? Okay. All right.
Do we want to have a discussion about this? Everybody, if we want to go around, is everybody happy doing that? If everybody has thoughts, do you want to move in, I guess in your thoughts, maybe mention if you want to move forward with the resolution or not, and then we'll see where we land when everybody gets done talking? Okay. Do you care which end we start at? Jermaine, do you want to go first? Okay.
I mean, I brought it up, so I'm for it. But again, I really think that it's up to the people. I guess I understand the resolution is presenting it to the community, and then the community says, yeah, we like it, or yeah, we don't like it. Is that what that is? Or, and then after that, we vote based on that? I don't understand what the resolution is.
Again, the community wouldn't be voting. The
Right, no, I
community would
understand
be,
that, just
if
offering
interested,
an opinion.
attending a public hearing to hear about it. If
Okay.
the board is, if it's the desire of the board to move forward with a resolution.
My apologies. I meant in the hearing, is the community have input, or do they just listen to what we say we want to do?
So it's not a workshop as much. It's a hearing in terms of the budget would be the budget. The board, the school would be presenting that information to the community.
Understood. Is there a situation where the community could have input?
We would certainly look into what would be appropriate for that, working with, yeah, I don't know the answer to
Right.
that.
I
right
mean,
now.
basically, the only reason I'm
Yeah.
asking is because, you know, I think it should be up to them ultimately. I understand that the board is the people that vote. We are the people that vote on it.
Correct.
So I guess I want to hear what they thought about it before we had an opinion.
If I could interject, I think what I understood the process as is there would be a public hearing, people would be able to come and express their views, the board would listen, but that only the members of the board would vote. So that was the answer. Okay.
Well, then I guess in the event that the public can weigh in, I am all in.
I'm inclined to say no, however, if the majority of the board, or if close to a majority of the board would like to proceed, then I would change my vote.
This is the fourth time that I've been involved in this. It would be wonderful to be able to do it, but we also hear from taxpayers who say they pay enough taxes as it is. And if taxes were shifted from veterans to the other taxpayers, that's just going to add to it. Number two, if you're going to do it for veterans, well, why not first responders? And where does that, I mean, police, EMTs, you could go on like that. The last I heard, it was an all-volunteer army or all-volunteer military. So essentially, people go in there. They don't go in there hoping that they would get something like this. They go in there to serve their country. And I applaud that wholeheartedly. And when they get out, they do get benefits. They get health benefits. They can go to PXs on base. And they can actually stay on Army bases or at military bases for reduced prices. I wasn't for it the last 3 times. I'm still not for it. I applaud the people who go into the military for whatever reason they go in for, but I just think it's not fair to the other taxpayers. That's just my opinion. I'm not for it.
I am on the same page, Jerry, that I don't feel right about taking the tax burden and putting it on everybody else. I also think it opens the door if you want to do a veterans exemption, same thing, like you go on and then your first responders and the list will go on. And at what point do we stop paying taxes? Somebody's always gonna have to pay them, and I'm not for this.
I'm gonna have to agree with Tori and Jerry. I feel like if we move forward with this one, what's next? It's like opening Pandora's box that's gonna keep building up for everyone else. So I'm going to have to say no as well.
So to me, I get your point on where is it gonna end, but when you go in the military, it is volunteer. Where when you start talking about first responders and things like that, that's a paid position. So they're getting compensated already. Personally, I wouldn't mind hearing what the public had to say on this.
Being that I'm a retired veteran, it would benefit me tremendously. So I think it would be great. However, I'm against it because I think that if there's going to be any kind of a tax compensation bonus or anything for that, it should come from the government. It shouldn't come from the taxpayers. And I think that we already have enough trouble with making sure that our taxpayers and keeping their taxes down as low as possible. So I'm against it, so.
May I just add one more thing? Towns do it, okay, and their budgets are much smaller than school district. Most towns' budgets are 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It doesn't have as great of an effect as school districts whose budgets are 10, sometimes 20, or sometimes 100 times more than that. And the effect that would have is even bigger the larger your budget is. That's all.
To add to that, Jerry, I think that the last time or one of the times that we talked about it, Mike had done some research and there was like 350 some veterans within our tax district that would be affected by that burden could go, 350 people's taxes could get burdened over to the rest of the taxpayers. So I think that would be a tough road to follow on that, so.
Okay, so what will we need to do now? I mean, nothing? Okay, so the majority says they're not interested. Okay. Are you all set then with everything? Okay, all right. Natalie, are you all set? Okay, then we will move forward with the consent agenda. I am looking for a motion to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2025's board meeting and the CSE minutes.
I'll move.
Can I get a second? Any discussion? Right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Moving on to the treasurer report. I need a motion to approve the December treasurer report.
I'll move.
A second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Moving on to personnel. We have appointments. I will take the top 3 if that's okay, and then do the last one separately. Okay, upon the recommendation from Superintendent Fluke to approve the following appointments. Long-term substitute music teacher, 2024-2025 secondary extracurricular advisor, and a secondary literacy club teachers, 2. Can I get a motion to approve those?
I'll move.
Go ahead.
A second? Okay. Discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Next, we have, we will need a motion upon the recommendation from Superintendent Fluke to approve the business administrator contract and the below appointment of a business administrator, Derek Valise, as the business administrator effective April 1st, 2025. I get a motion.
I'll move.
Can I get a second? Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Natalie, do you have anything you'd like to add here?
I would like to say congratulations to Derek. Wanted to also just say aloud that I know it feels early that we are in this process, but because we know the important role that a school business official plays, we wanted to start the process early. So tonight, we welcome Mr. Derek Valise, who will be joining us in April to work alongside Mr. Bastian to prepare for when Mike retires in June. We are thankful for the overlap so that Derek can work alongside Mr. Bastian, myself, the Board of Education, as we prepare during the budget process. So thank you for that. And I just want to tell you a little bit about what Mr. Valise will bring to us here at HCS. So Mr. Valise comes to us having been an experienced business official and having worked 3 years as Assistant Superintendent for Business with the Victor Central School District. Derek has experience as a district and central treasurer, as well as a staff accountant. Derek was an auditor in a previous position, working in accounting and many additional related duties. And he has experience in school budgeting, financial reporting, and has capital improvement project experience, which we know will be very much appreciated and helpful as we move into the upcoming years. So I am honored to welcome Mr. Derek Valise.
Okay, moving on, we will move to new business, old business. We have invoices. I'm looking for a motion to approve the SWBR invoice for the auditorium emergency project and the Capital Region BOCES invoice. Could I get a motion?
I'll move.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Moving to the capital improvement project. We have a contract we are looking for a motion on for the TAMCO final contract document. Can I get a motion?
I'll move.
A second? All right, any discussion?
Just one.
Okay.
On the first page, it says agreement made as of the 26th day of August in the year 2024. Is that when this document was created, but not agreed to, or should that be changed?
That should be changed. We did do a very thorough, page by page, word by word, but that got missed. So we'll make that amendment.
And it should be today, right?
Yes, yes. We'll amend that to be today's date.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. Moving on, also under capital improvement project is the invoice for the SWBR invoice. I need a motion to approve.
I'll approve or move first. Oh my God, it's late.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Lastly, we have any comments from the Board of Education?
Is everyone okay with their setup where they're sitting? We tried to move it around a bit so it can fit in the screen a little bit better.
I'm good. I have a couple of comments though.
Sure.
And it's about, on March 21st is the spring conference at, 4 counties. And it's a great day, conference. They have, breakout sessions and, if anyone I would like to attend, if I can. And, so that's the one, and that's $60 per person, but that's an all-day affair. And it's really, I went last year. It's really, a very valuable thing to meet and be able to network, but also to just be able to attend the breakout sessions. They had some good information. And then February 6th is the general meeting for 4 counties at Club 86 in Geneva. And I'd also like to attend that too as a board member there, but I have to bring it to you guys to be voted on. So both of those I would like to attend. And then my last comment would be about the cell phones in schools. What have we, I know it's fairly new, but what are we going to do about it?
So we're really advocating for local control over the decision to collect phones or to ban phones. At this point, we are working to, first of all, we don't have a cell phone issue here at HCS. So I strongly feel that if we try to collect phones when it isn't currently an issue, then we're creating an issue. So at this point, we are working as a team. In fact, I have a meeting this Friday and then again next Friday, and we're going to be talking as a region about how we're going to be moving forward with that.
As a collective region or just?
We're going to see where everybody is and if we're all on the same page, but many of us have voiced the same thing that I'm saying now.
Right. Okay. So then I just need to be voted on, I guess, whether I can go to those 2 meetings. And if anyone else wants to go.
Okay, now it works. Sorry. I got the green light, which stopped me, and I have the red light, which means go. This is confusing. Do you want us to add that to the next agenda? That way, if anybody else wants to go, we can just vote on everybody at one time. Is that okay?
What about the February?
The February 6th one? Okay. So is everybody okay then with Jim attending that? Yeah. Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. And then the March 21st one we'll just hold off on until, okay, that sounds good. That's the one that you and Jermaine and I went to last year? Yeah, that was really good. So if somebody else wants to go this year, I would like
I would.
encourage. It's a lot of, and they repeat the classes. So like if you miss something in the morning session, you can go back and get it in the afternoon. But I thought it was extremely beneficial and the food was good and the company was good. It was a fun day. Anything else that anybody has for board comments? Yes, Jerry.
Yes, I just wanted to remind the board, we're doing concessions tomorrow night, starting at 5:30 at the indoor concession stand. I believe it's Jim, Jermaine, and myself. And if anybody else wants to stop in for a short time, that's fine too. Does that sound right?
Jerry, I just remembered, no, I'm gonna still do it, but I'm getting my cortisone shot in my knee tomorrow. And I'm gonna see what the doctor says about being up on it all night, but I'm still planning on being there. Maybe I'll
We
have
have
to
a
sit down.
chair, we have a chair
I was
there.
gonna say, maybe I'll have to sit down. I don't know.
That's fine.
You can handle the cash.
I kind of interrupted Tori, I apologize, but I would like to attend that March session, please. Or conference, rather.
Okay, so when I go to the next agenda set meeting, Jen and I can just have it added to the agenda then for next meeting. The only thing I want to say is, Jen, I know we discussed, having you send out availability for the workshop so that we could plan our retreat. I know that you said that you'd spoken to Sue Wyatt about how she said that they do have a hard time getting other districts to participate in things. That said, I just want us to, I know you said, could you just say what you said? Like, sorry, I don't want to misspeak on your behalf. You'll just have to use your mic so everybody can hear you. I don't want to misspeak or say something wrong and have it not be the right thing.
Yeah, so when I spoke to Sue, this March conference is where they invite all of the boards, and that's the big collaboration for all the boards to attend. And she said they get limited participation in that. So she was just worried that if we were trying to set up a retreat, that was a date that worked for you guys to send that out to other boards to try to get them to come. It might not be well attended, but that's what this March 21st conference is. The same kind of thing, try to get a retreat where all of the board members come together. So I don't know if you want to try to do something in addition to that, or just use that one for what you were hoping for.
My feeling is that I would still like to press ahead with having a workshop to try to figure out something to do for a retreat, because I feel like attending that last year, that was a lot more focused on topics that I guess I would say that they don't really cover what we want to talk about for our retreat. And I know that Natalie's gone to things and talked to two schools specifically that we maybe want to work with going forward. So I just would like the opportunity, I think, for the board to get together, speak, plan something, figure out where we lie with this. And I don't know, do you all just again want to say how you feel about this? I don't want to pursue it if it's not what everybody wants to do, but it was a goal, so I don't want to just overlook it. And so
Why don't we just invite several school districts instead of trying to invite like 8 or 10 or more, which doesn't seem to have much of an effect. We could either do districts adjacent to us, like Naples and Bloomfield, or like the two that Natalie might be interested in. And just to get things rolling, this first year, and that all boards have certain things in common, but many school districts have their own agendas and things that are important to them. But I think if we just met with a couple, it would be a good starting point.
anybody else?
Just
Yes.
one suggestion is if you're going to invite other schools, I don't know the location because traveling Honeyway is farther out from a lot of the other schools. You might want to think about having remote attendance.
So do we want to move ahead with a workshop to plan all this?
Sure.
Is it, because that way, I mean, we can talk about what schools we want and how we want to, do you want a breakfast? Do you want a lunch? Like, I just feel like there's too many details to sit here and do right now. If we planned a workshop, we could, get an outline and some ideas. I mean, maybe an hour retreat, nothing lengthy at all. But so if you could send out availability for a workshop and then we can move ahead from there.
What time frame are you looking for?
Sometime end of February, maybe? Like
After
for the,
break?
is that okay with everybody? Is that okay?
Just thinking, we're pushing now. In February, we have March, April, May, and June. School. You don't do anything in June, so they got the 3 months.
How does the beginning of February, is that more doable for everybody?
Yeah, but boards still meet in July, August.
Mhm.
I mean, just because.
Let's just do
it's in
middle to end
session.
of February then, middle to end.
Okay, do you want me to avoid break week?
I would just say that, I know we set the goal and everything, but even if we just workshopped it and scripted out a structure, and then, even if we met with boards in the fall or something like that, we still have forward momentum on that.
I just don't want it to get so far behind us that we don't have time to go back. So I would like to do that then. Okay. Does anybody have anything else for comments?
Don't forget, I have a grandbaby coming end of February, beginning of March, so
Okay.
I will put in my best efforts on the dates, but I'm making no guarantees.
Okay. If nobody has anything else, then there's just information for the board. One of those items is the yearbook ad, and I already have collected money from some of you, which I will turn over to the yearbook staff and crew, and they will put our half-page ad in like they always do for us. So there's that. And then, do we have to go into executive session?
I do have one quick thing.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so we're going into executive for a matter of potential legal litigation.
Okay, so can I get a motion to go into executive session then, based on the verbiage from Natalie, please?
I'll move.
A second?
I'll second.
All right. Hold on, we'll get to it in a second. Any discussion on that? All right, we will pause for a moment, say our goodbyes, or should I continue on? And then we'll, in the pause, okay. I got a motion, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? All right, we are in executive. All right, we are out of executive. And if everyone's all set, I need a motion to adjourn. And a second from Jim Helling. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.